Here in South Mississippi, we have to protect some of our bee yards from the bears, so we have to put up electric fences. Today we're going to do some swarm prevention and make up some 5-frame nukes in the process. Okay, this is a hive mark that's working. How many frames of brood were in the top box?
4 frames.
4 frames with brood and honey?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
And a little bit of pollen on it.
Okay. And then how many frames in the bottom?
Well, right now I can for sure see 4 frames just from looking from here.
Okay. And when you tilted the hive forward, this is a good strong hive, and we can take 4 frames of brood from it, and it still has 3 to 4 frames in the bottom. And you're going to put foundation in there. And then in a few days, I think maybe Monday, we will come and take these frames of brood that will be covered in bees and install them in those boxes. Okay, as we go through the beehives, we have to realize that it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. Every beehive we have to assess what's going on. These were duds that weren't good enough for California, so some are honey bound, so we need to give the queen some space. And we're leaving these with 3 frames of brood, and all the field bees will come back to these hives because of the way we're going to set off the 5-frame nukes. So we have to keep all of that in mind. This hive, she has started laying in the top box, and the rest of these frames are full of honey. So we're going to see how many frames of brood we have in the bottom. She has expanded the brood nest above into this box because we see that she is starting to lay some drone comb, some drone brood in between the frames. So on this frame, we have a massive frame of pollen with a little bit of open brood here on this side. I'm going to set this frame to, we have 1, 2, 3 frames of honey down here. And you can see she started laying here earlier in the month, and she's expanded out to this area. She's laying where they don't have the pollen. Another good frame of open brood all the way almost to the wood. So there's 1 frame. Here's another frame. Look, it's got a good nectar shake. So we know what's about to happen with the vegetation here. And so we have to give this queen room to lay eggs, or they will go to the trees. Even if they don't have a massive population of bees, if she runs out of room to lay, they're bringing in nectar and they're not consuming the honey that is stored, she's going to the trees. So we need to divide this colony and capture that new hive before it goes to the wild. So we have 3 frames of brood in the bottom. Here's another frame with some brood and pollen. So some open brood, good open brood here. I'm going to set this frame to the side. I probably will use it as part of the nuke. Going to put this frame of pollen back in the bottom. 3 frames of brood in the bottom. Let's see what we have in this top box. It feels like it's all honey. More pollen, a little bit of brood down here. Let's see what we have on this frame. More of the same. So this hive does not need to be split, but it has to have some room in the brood nest. So I'm gonna take this frame of honey out. Shake the bees. Here's the frame of larva that I set aside. I'm gonna put it back in the bottom. Take out 3 frames of all that honey. Set it back here. Walk with me over here. We have a dead hive. That's virtually empty frames. So we're going to put these 3 empty frames in the brood nest of this hive over here and give her space to lay some more brood. And this is just one example of what you have to do to a beehive to manage. We will use those frames of honey in another split, in another nuke. All right, I hope this helps. We went through the yard, got about 128 5-frame nukes. Now, these 5-frame nukes are for our own use. We'll let them grow and then we'll plug them into the blowouts as we go through the bee yards, checking for honey supers in about 6 weeks. So we're gonna finish at this yard cleaning up, get everything strapped down, and head on to another yard. We'll be back here in a few days, I think on Monday, to take the 5-framers. We'll be back here on Monday to install the 5-framers into these nuke boxes.